Hey, oh my gosh, what's going on with this?
I was just drinking some water. That really caught me off guard there.
Thanks to everybody that has to put up with our technical issues every single week. So that's
Mirage
part
is
of the
running a
show
live
now.
stream. You're
What?
like the person in the movie who like stays behind to do like to hack and do all the tech stuff. That's you every week for this live stream. That's what people maybe don't know is Mirage is like out here
I don't know
running
what
all the
I'm
tech.
doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the whole point of this. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just acting like I'm here doing stuff for like 3 hours. Stuff that should take like 10 seconds, maybe, like, and then it just
Mm.
all implodes right before.
In fairness, we
So
had a very weird problem that started right at the beginning of this. So
yeah. Yeah. And you migrated over here and I appreciate it because you like to see what's going on in Hollywood. What's going on in Hollywood, Huey?
I guess sort of there's a lot going on in Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
um, right now. My brother Isaac just wrote a article about the Mulan movie and how
Oh.
Disney's like working and thanking lots of government that are putting Uyghur minorities in camps and concentration camps right now. So
I know.
that's like a whole thing. You know, we get this great Mulan movie, and then Disney goes and like some
Mm-mm.
really shady stuff. So we're
There's a
working on a
whole.
contract right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You don't want to say anything else. You just like that's it.
Well, you started to say something, and I was like, let me let you
Oh,
jump
I
in.
was just saying that the whole Mulan thing. There's a whole in the FU corner on the the group, the new LA comedy scene. That's a
Hmm.
big topic.
Really?
It's a big topic. Yeah.
And what are people saying?
There's no representation
Mm,
from the Asian community, and
mm,
that they're using they're using, I guess, groups or companies that support the Uyghur exploitation and all that stuff. I don't. There's a lot. There's a lot of
right,
stuff in that corner. So,
right.
and you have okay. So
Yeah.
you have your thing, your things. You were
The
just
big thing for me
talking
is the project in Syracuse that I'm working on. That's the big thing I'm working on right now, which isn't Hollywood related, but it is related to, I think, a lot of the things that we talk about on here, which is making arts accessible for people. So people
Mm-hmm.
who know me know that I really care about Syracuse, and there's a lot of like really bad um, poverty and race-related poverty in Syracuse. A lot of the stuff that a lot of people are learning about now with just government practices and things that are specifically set to keep people of color down, and that's in Syracuse. So there's a lot of great movement happening there to bring arts programming out there, and I finally figured out a program, the Arts Project Syracuse, that's going to be working to like get kids technology, because a lot of kids out there don't have the tech that they need,
Okay.
even to do school. They don't have enough computers. I spoke with someone who's working with a family with 8 kids and one computer, and school starts
Ooh.
on Monday, and it's not going to be all virtual.
Ooh.
So, so that's tough.
Ooh.
That's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, because Syracuse is a place, it keeps popping up for me. At first it was like
Mm,
Syracuse, and now I hear about Syracuse all the time. I
right.
don't know what
And not
about, but
just from me.
no, not from you at all. Like and I think I'm going to be teaching level 2 in for the Syracuse comedy group. So that's a
Hey,
thing. That's a
hey, hey. Cool, cool.
my podcast came out last week. You have a special
Your
appearance.
podcast came out last week?
Yes. Yeah, where you been, Huey? Where you been?
How did I miss your podcast coming out?
Where you been, Huey? Where have you been?
Did you did you post about it?
Yes, I've been posting about it. I've been in post about it. That, bam.
That that's your podcast. I thought you were just posting that.
Why would I just be
I
posting
literally
stuff?
thought that was just like a meme that you were posting.
What? With my
I
name in
literally
it?
have seen that a few times and just been like, oh, that's funny. Raj's just out here because you just like post funny stuff on Facebook and you get people started talking about stuff. So I literally thought
Oh,
that was your just a meme.
right.
Wow.
Like, what's
Wow.
who's our vice president? Mike Pence.
Mike Pence.
He looks like he's wearing a Mike Pence mask. Have you noticed that?
Mike Pence looks like he's wearing a mask of Mike Pence
all the time. He looks like he's about 20 years old. I thought he was the same age as Trump. And he's not. He's like 15 years younger.
Live, yeah, that's what he seems like to me. It's all that hate, keeps you young. Yeah. Some people makes them old. Some people it just gives them a youthful way.
The racism have a glow.
Yeah, the racism way. Sometimes it really makes people look terrible, but Mike Pence.
Yes.
What's your Hollywood situation? So you got a new podcast out that I'll just go binge right now. How many episodes have I missed?
Just 1.5.
Wow.
But still. Damn. And I talk about you too in it, so get ready for that. Yeah. And otherwise, there have been a lot of investigations. There's some investigations that are going on out there, but the problem that we're coming up with is that this is like level 2 or whatever the next step, because we got to the point with pretty much all of these theaters where they've started investigations, but the follow-up isn't there at all. There's no follow-up, there's no communication, there's nothing that is telling the people who have opened themselves up to these investigations that, we hear you and this is what's happened, because we have a lot of we can speculate about what's happened, especially because some people are no longer on websites and stuff, but it hasn't been made official. And so we're not trying to hurt any investigations, but we have to have some communication on that.
Yeah, it's been an interest. I mean, these big schools, theaters, corporations have really sort of done this interesting thing of listening. Okay, now we're going to look inward and make changes here. And then we'll just tell you whenever we decide that we want to. We'll update you on what's happening without any sort of consideration of when is that time going to be? Mm-hmm. What can people who have spoken with y'all and used emotional energy and all that stuff and pain and shared and lived through gonna know things?
Yeah.
And then people are trying to do detective stuff, going on the website. Okay, do I see someone? Do I see a class? Do I see this? Do I see that? And it's
and it's you're. And some people who are under investigation right now are teaching classes, and I'm not going to say exactly where, but I'm going to say sounds like Schmoundlings.
Yeah. Think of any big comedy schools around here that run with Schmoundlings, but
yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot to put together. There are a lot of dots to connect. But
we have a comment from so we have incredible guests that are coming out that we're gonna tell you all about in a second. It's our Frangela, who we just love, and this is unrelated to Schmoundlings, totally unrelated. But they did comment in the chat. I want to honor their comment. They said the Groundlings. So.
Oh, what?
But I'm sure that's unrelated to that. What they weren't playing the film, the piece.
How do you say that comment? That's not on. Are they just sending you personal?
That's private chat. In the private chat.
Yeah.
Where you were sending the StreamYard link before.
Okay. Hey. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. All right. That. So that's all I have. Do you have anything else?
Cool. No, I think that's the big thing. I mean, actually, we do have something else that I do want to talk about, which is that Hollywood Accountability is working on videos to get people prepared for the election. So we have some people who we're communicating with right now who are writing scripts. Basically, every single item that's on the ballot this November for California or October, we are going to have a video that's going to explain to you what it is, what's going on, the nuts and bolts of it, and then some people are also, sharing their own sort of opinion. Hey, I'm talking about this proposition. I believe that you should do this. I'm going to tell you why, but here's the information about both. So if that's something that someone who's watching this wants to be involved in, we still have space for people to get involved. And then just to be prepared to sort of keep your eye out for those, because we're trying to make sure that people can vote. Some people are going to go do all the research. Some people are going to do some of the research. Some people are going to do no research. Some people are just going to vote for the president. Which is still helpful, but at the same time, if we can get to that ballot and check off every single thing with an informed decision, that can help make some good positive changes. So just keep your eyes out for that, everybody.
especially if you're here in LA. I mean, voting for the president, we know kind of like where California is. So those other votes are so much more important so that we can actually get the right representation, and that makes a difference.
Frangela, I'm sure unrelated as well, also just said fuck Trump. So, but I agree. Should I introduce our amazing guest, Mirage?
Yes, and I also have a video. So, go ahead.
Okay. So we're very excited. This is so exciting for us to have our friends Frangela here. So Francis Callier and Angela V. Shelton are real life best friends who met while working at the Second City in Chicago, Illinois. You've seen them on Dateline, Best Week Ever, MSNBC, and in the movie He's Just Not Into You. They are the hosts of two podcasts, The Final Word and Idiot of the Week, available wherever you get your podcasts. We're so excited to have Frangela here.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Oh, girl, I've been waiting for this movie to come out for months.
I know, me too.
Oh, here we go. I rewatched 1 through 7, so I will be ready.
Oh, no, the black guy is dead already. We didn't even make it to the credits.
That's gotta be some kind of a record.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, here comes the cute girl.
Okay.
Oh, homegirl is showing a lot of side boob. You know what that means? Dead.
I know she should be quiet.
The killer could be anywhere. Run, girl.
No, the other way.
Dead. Oh, you got allergies? Hey, you need to try the or have you tried the You should try that for that. That'll help with that. Oh my God, you got a chainsaw.
Oh my goodness, girl, I can't watch this. Tell me what's happening.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, girl. Okay. So what's happening is, the other cute girl, she's changing out of her bikini into another bikini. I think it's an evening bikini. I don't really know. Now she's trying to open that crazy evil puzzle box.
Now, why is it that every time in every horror movie, people do exactly what the crazy old man says not to do? You know what that means?
Dead. Is your phone ringing, girl?
Is that your phone?
Is that your phone?
Is that your phone?
Somebody
Is that your phone?
Oh wait, girl, I think that's my phone.
Oh.
Girl, I think that's my phone.
Wait a minute, girl. Wait a minute.
Hello?
Tell them you at the movies.
I'm at the movies. Who is this? Hello? Girl, I think this is you.
What?
I think you reptiled me.
I'm at the movies. What you do,
Excuse us. Could y'all keep it down? We're trying to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Hey, thanks so much for coming and being with us. So exciting.
Thank you for having me.
Hi.
So
Francis and I realized.
So how is life after?
Right before I just finished, we just realized right before we got on here that we were on Bring the Funny together. She's like, "Wait a second, I know you from that show." I remember meeting y'all at Bring the Funny, being like, "These women are so amazing," and then just like throughout the course, like telling different people that y'all were on the show, and every single person that I told was like, "Frangela, like I love them. I did this with them. Well, I saw them on this." Like everybody knew who you were. It was so cool.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you for saying that.
That was
so glad to have you
about
here.
that show. Was just when we did get to be around each other backstage, like, or in that pen. We had us
One of my favorite parts of being on Bring the Funny was literally making the other comedians laugh. It just made me feel so good about myself as a comedian. I was like, I am funny. I just made like at least 5 different comedians laugh.
Well, that's the whole point of doing a show like that. We've worked on those types of shows in front of the camera, behind the camera as producers. The whole point of doing a show like that is about community. If you're there, get mine, get yours, walk in a room and show people how good you are, or show people that you can't be a part of a community, that's all you're going to get. That experience. But we walked away knowing a ton of really great people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best part. That's the best part of it. So how's life been in the time of COVID, and since everybody just realized that there's a such thing as racism.
It's been shocking.
I mean, it's a
whirlwind.
It's a new thing.
Who would have known?
Who would have known? Who would have thunk?
We're just now figuring it out. They're like, that's why it's been so hard. Damn.
Yeah. COVID. At the top of COVID, what I realized, I told Angela, I said, this moment, everybody's going to COVID differently, Yeah. And what I realized also now, 6 months later, is that COVID is going to be something different, not only day to day, moment to moment for you. Mm-hmm. You're going to be up, you're going to be down, you're going to be twisted, you're going to be depressed. You're going to feel better, you're going to feel worse. You're going to be in and out and upside down, and that's just it.
Right. You just have to do, like you said, moment by moment, which is how we should be living life, kind of, you know what I mean? But it's moment by moment. We, at the very beginning of this, we do talk about, in my house, we talk about the COVID before racism and the COVID after racism. Like the first part where we thought that it was only going to last for this is going to be a month. Yeah. And then I'm trying to do push-ups and I'm like, look at this. And now I can't even get up off of a push-up. Not one. I used to be able to do pull-ups. I thought I was going to be, and now it's like, I'm lucky to wear pants.
It's what it has done is like your expectation. What I've seen is I feel like people go in two different directions. It's like either it's a galvanizing moment, and it seems that's what's happening around racism, where we're able to get super focused, hyper focused as people, or I see a diffusion of mind as well. It's diffuse, where it's blown everybody apart, other people. So it does either it galvanizes or it diffuses people, and you're so spread out you can't even gather yourself up to do a pull up, to do a push. Things you can do.
Yeah. Yes. And I remember, you might not remember this, but you did No Waiting. Mark's show, No Waiting?
Yes.
Yeah, right as Trump was being elected, or right after, I think. It was right after. How have things changed for you, like from that time? Like when we were speaking out about like, let's make sure that we change things to now.
It's much worse than I thought it would be. And I had no hope for it being good. I don't want to miss. Not one of those people who thought maybe he'll rise to the occasion and be a great president. I didn't think that at all. I didn't know it would be this. This is like, it is. I'm with Rachel Maddow. I am constantly just like, I don't understand what is happening. And I feel crazy. So it's that since then, it's just, I don't know where we are, what's happening. It feels like we're in this weird holding pattern that isn't a holding pattern. Because of course time keeps moving no matter what we think, Yeah. So it's just crazy. And it does feel like you have to sort of like always be ready.
Yeah.
For something, and that's a really, I have new respect for nomadic culture. For people who've had to run, like I'm like, that's hard when you kind of think I may have to run.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. Like we don't want to miss our Handmaid's Moment escape window, like there's a window that you can get out before it goes completely crunk. Right. Like before you're in a camp, and your room is being rented out. So it's like, we want to I don't want to miss the window. Because I don't think that I will even get to be a resistance. I think they'll just kill us right off the bat. Like there's just no
right. I think my daughter might be like one of the leaders, but I think as soon as everything goes down.
Oh, you're on the list. Both y'all on the list. I know that. Us too on the list. Oh, in the same camp. That'd be a fun camp.
Oh, that's so funny because right at the beginning, I know that we all thought things were going to be this is bad, but we never thought it was going to be like zombie bad, like, apocalypse bad.
Yeah, the sky is red.
Right.
Like it's that bad.
And it's snowing in Denver. It's what? What?
I can't.
It's snowing. It was 100 degrees and now it's snowing, and now you have, I keep saying, I tell Hughie, I tell everybody, and this is where things go off, but that I know I'm a Russian bot. I must be a Russian bot. I must be. There is no way I'm a person. This is not real. This whole thing is
this is the wrong timeline. Something got screwed up. We're on the wrong timeline.
Exactly. Mirage, we had the conversation last night. We are clearly the same people got dropped off on this earth. And there's a problem because there's no sanity left. You can't be, you cannot be saying, in this moment. And to your point earlier about when you asked about, when from Trump being elected till now, we are social political satirists. That's what we do. We talk about politics. We live, eat, and breathe politics, and I'm so proud of us all. There's so many people who have been resisting this president since January 20th, from the Women's March, from get-go, from Jump Street. And I didn't know I had it in me this to be this kind of mad, this kind of passionate, this involved on a daily basis. You couldn't have told me I'd be here.
Yeah. Yeah, to be this involved, like you said, and this informed from minute to minute, moment to moment. So it's not that we're like saying, okay, let's relax. We already did that. We need to actually right now be on top of it and know the power that we have, each of us. So especially people who, and the great thing about comedy is that you can make people listen to you even if they disagree with you. So especially in satire, you can just, you don't believe this, but you'll still laugh, right? So you heard it. So that's what I love about.
That's the reason why. Please.
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying that's what I love about you. So.
Oh, yeah, that's what I love about what we. Thank you. That's what I love about what we all do. Is that the reason why I'm a satirist? And I believe Angela too is that as a African American person in this world, when I found out when I was 15 years old when I came to this work, and I was like, wait a minute, I can have a voice. And not only can I have a voice, I can create. I don't have to use somebody else's word. I can say what I have to say from my perspective, from my background, how it affects me and my people. Oh, fuck you. I'm never doing anything.
Yeah. You're like, you will listen to me. Listen.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
What do you think that I'm going to let Hughie talk because I'm just jumping in. But what do you think the experience has been as Black women in the Hollywood community for you? What's been like? That's our show, everybody.
Like a dream come true. Like every day there's a parade.
They're just throwing money and opportunity.
Like, stop with this fairness and attention. I don't want it. It's been amazing. Yeah, no. Probably like yours. Probably like everyone. Like it's, yeah. I in terms of our discussion before we came on, I couldn't agree more that people may be talking a different game and making commercials about Black Lives Matter in a different game, but I would love to see that translate into an actual something, and that I think that it's obviously representation is a huge problem on top of how we're represented when we are represented. Yeah. I don't know what your experience has been, but I'm guessing it's the same. You can look at a script and know which part you get based on how they write the dialogue. Yeah. Right. So if the character says girl, you're like, oh, there I am. You know, and that's and it's you know, I don't think that much has. I'm going to say nothing has changed in the time that I've started as an actor. In terms of how there's less work, but that a lot of that I think has to do with even the union situation and them opening the reality television way back from the Writers Guild strike and reality television taking over. There's a whole bunch of things that have happened, but we are still woefully represented and in every area. And below the line is abysmal, you know, like finding like Black sound people or, you know, Asian sound people or lighting or whatever. Like there's such a lockout. Like I've been on sets where all the performers and some of the executives or whatever are people of color or, you know, but none of the crew, you know, they'll be like one or two people maybe, you know.
Right.
So that has not gotten better in my opinion.
Yeah. And then when you think about the stories we tell using Black bodies and Black voices, you know, I just lost a ton of weight. And what I noticed,
both y'all look beautiful. You looked beautiful before, but you look great.
The only reason I bring that up, thank you. The only reason I bring that up is because Black women can be one of two things. You can be the big, fat, Black, funny woman, or you can be the Black woman that is a sexual object that people want to have sex with. Yep. You don't get to be anything in between. Right. And so that is my issue when you talk about what we go through. So you get to play one of two things, you know, desirable or the joke. And what I found is that it doesn't matter the quality of your ability. What matters is the size of your girth. Can we laugh? How big can you be so that we can laugh at you?
Right. Yeah. And that's why right now one of the things that I personally am fighting against is the tokenism that's that's going forth in our industry. The fact that it's like, oh well, here's this Black woman who's a part of our show, and so that means, you know, are you happy? And she's like, yeah, whatever. I just need. Give me whatever you give me, and I need to pay my health insurance, and you know, and then you're happy, so that means that everybody in this industry is happy, or everybody in this industry is that Black woman, or everybody in this industry has that same voice, which is something. I mean, that's where we have to tear things down completely to build it back up. Well, there's no building off of that at all. It's just tear that stuff down. Tear down the concept of, you know, of these tokenism. And I'm not saying I've been the token sometimes before. We've all, you know, we've been there.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. Think about how many spaces, and here in 2020, how many spaces you have been the first in 2020.
In 2020. And when we talk about the first, and we always say, oh, this is the first, this type of person to do these things. We're not saying, in a lot of people's minds, we're saying this is the first, say, African-American woman to be in this position, where there have been tremendous talents that come before that person that didn't have the opportunity to get to the place that person was. So it's an allowance of people to be able to get to those places. It's that glass ceiling where it's like, here's everything that you need to move forward. But that last ingredient, that last opportunity, you know, so this is what's making you have to like pedal on that low speed on a 10-speed bike. I don't exercise anymore, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
You know what? But and to your point is that, and I think that the last ingredient always to all the recipes is us. It's what you're doing. Right. It's you talking about earlier, you know, before we started to talk about your podcast, you know, to talk about this show. It is because until people like us who have other things to say come out and create it, that's all we're going to have are those two options.
True. That's true. Yeah, we have, and I think that in particular, I think that's the strength of Black women in our business, because we figured it out, because we were born this way. We have Black people in our families that are just like, look, you have to make your own opportunities. Yeah. You are the opportunity, and the other opportunities, if they come to you, that's great, but you are the opportunity, and you might be the opportunity for someone else. We're not sitting back. And, you know, that's where we have that strength or whatever it is that people want to place on us. This is like survival. This is a necessity. Yeah.
Please, Angela, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fun because I don't know if you've had the experience of having friends, some of my white friends, say things to me like, how do you deal with it? I didn't know. And I'm like, actually, I've been complaining about this for a really long time, but I stopped complaining about it to you because you constantly took up the side of the person you didn't know in the story. And you constantly, I mean, maybe you're just seeing it that way. Maybe they didn't mean it because you're Black. And so I stopped even complaining about it. But actually, like, I think I have made every close to woke, because I wouldn't hang out with no racist.
Yeah, right.
White friend I had, I think I've made all of them cry in the last 4 months, like, because I've just been like, I either make people cry or I rile them up, and I don't, and I feel bad at either way. Like they're like, let's burn it down, or like, I can't believe it's so bad, and I'm just like, and it's true that like that. We're not only we have to make our own opportunities, but when people say, "Well, how do you put up with it?" I go, "What's the option?"
Yeah,
like, we're like, is the option that I jump off a cliff? Like, these are the options. This is the world I'm in. I got to deal with the cards I'm dealt. I can just sit around and be pissed about it, which I am. Believe me, I can show you a journal full of piss. Just piss. So like, that's, you know, and I do what I can, but at the end of the day, I still do have to pay bills. I still do have dreams and goals, and I have to figure out how I'm going to live inside of the world in this country that quite clearly doesn't really want me to in a lot of ways.
You.
Yeah, so it's so when people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, what do you mean how? What option do I have? You know,
right. That's it's so true, because this is just life. You know, this is just our life. It's not these aren't choices that we're making. You know, that's why I always have an issue with "you're so strong." I just always make that such a joke, because you're so strong, Raj. Okay, I appreciate that. That's great. Whatever. I am strong. But the fact that that's always something that people say to you, you're like, I'm just living. What do you think I should do? Just pass away in front of you? Like, how is this? What's the other thing?
If I didn't have to be, what'd be really neato is if when I was upset or when I cried, everything stopped and everybody looked at and said, "Wait a minute, hey, Angela's upset. Let's all focus on our love and concern here." But that isn't what happens.
Yeah, the world doesn't stop for a crying Black woman.
No, and I cry, I become hysterical and unreasonable, and it's time for me to leave. You know, and so it's like, and if I say anything, I'm just being hard on everyone. Right. So it's, you know, but like, don't let me get started about some of the people I've worked with, whose names I would be happy to say, and who literally have ground processes to a halt because they were having a hard day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, really?
I can't think of any sets. You know, white actresses shut down major TV shows. You know, actress said that it would be on TMZ the next day. The behavior, you couldn't behave that way.
No, you ask for too much. You say that you want some money or some other roles, like Monique. We never see you again.
Exactly. Because there's that attitude. There's the attitude. You know what I mean? I was talking to maybe you, Hughie. I was saying, I've said things to people before, especially within the business, and they thought I was yelling at them. And all I was doing was speaking. And they were like, I've never had someone yell at me like this before. And I'm like, am I yelling? Am I crazy? That's why you think you're a Russian bot, because you're like, I'm not even yelling. I'm just talking to you, but as if you're being very assertive.
Yeah,
that you're yelling at them.
Yeah, the perception
for me.
Yeah, in the perception of what a Black person is, you're already coming to before you even walk through the door, they look at you, and then boom, it is over. It is the game is done. It's a wrap.
Yeah, and it's the same. You know, we talk about us as Black people. Black men have that aggressive stereotype that's put on them, but I think Black women, we have there's a much different struggle there. There's a different level of struggle because we are doing things for the most part alone. So our strength is always something that seems like a threat to people. When you're considering someone, you almost always consider a Black woman in a special role. Like, this is the role for a Black woman. Okay, we got our Black woman or whatever. We have too many Black women. We got 3. Yeah. So why do we have that other Black woman?
Right.
What are we gonna do with her? So,
exactly. Not even the concept of these 3 women could absolutely have, if you're just thinking these 3 women we're looking at right now, these 3 women could have completely different skill sets.
Yes.
We're considered as individuals. We are a monolithic group, and what you can get from us is sassy.
Or sad. Weary. We do weary.
We do weary. We do sad.
And motherly.
That's right.
And Mother Earth, however you.
Mother Earth, we could be magical. We can do that.
Magical all day long.
All the time. We will tell you that. It's funny, but it's also not funny. I mean, because we're teaching our daughters this, and unfortunately, people see media, and that's what we see that just now. Everybody's just at home, and if someone says don't wear a mask, then they're just like, I guess I'm not going to wear a mask no matter what. We don't have to. I'm sorry. We don't have to. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back.
No, it's true. I can't get my mind around it.
I know. We're just going off. I know I could go to that, but it's the way that I was talking to one of my daughters yesterday, and I was saying, we have a responsibility with the voices that we have to be able to make it easier or better for other people. Like, I have a responsibility as a Black woman for people that are her age to see me. Whether or not that should be the way it is, I need to show that this is a path that I walk. It's things aren't always going to be great for me. In fact, most of the time they're not going to be, but that we still move forward, and that there's no path that is, not available to us in here.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, and you're absolutely right, because you do, whether or not you accept the role or this is what I'm going to say, whether or not you embrace the role of being a role model, you are a role model.
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
Right.
You want to hold up the mantle, pull up the gauntlet, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You are it. And so if you're being it, then be it.
Right. You just have to be it. You have to be there, and to be somebody who is a woman of color in deciding to be in a public eye, whether or not you are or not. The choices that you make are going to inspire other people, or also place a lens on other people that look like you, which is one of the reasons why I really support the representation of Kamala, because it's like, oh, my daughters get to see that, people want to say this is what I think. I'm like, look, my daughter gets to see herself in this position. So I said, now she has a direction she can run. It doesn't have to be that direction, but she knows we're not running in circles anymore.
Black women come through.
Yes. No, and I'm gonna tell you something. What I'm really proud of, one of the things I'm really proud of with all of us, is that we were like, no, we're owed this.
Yes.
Because I was like, no. You will do this. You will do this. We have been voting for your punk butts all our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. No, we are out here. No, this is it.
No.
You're going to do it. And I was like, oh, thank you.
From just, we were like, either it's going to have to be Stacey Abrams, but whoever he picked is going to be a black woman.
I better hear a Val or Stacey.
Somebody.
We're like, oh no. This is gonna happen. She is gonna be black. I'm sorry. This is just.
And we were for Elizabeth Warren in the primary, before we got told what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then I called my sister and Francis the Sunday morning after. Oh my gosh, why am I losing his name? The representative in who told us all who we're voting for.
Right. Oh my God. Now I'm.
I know. I'm having, but the minute that happened,
Clyburn.
Yeah. I was like, called them and I'm like, so we're voting for Biden, aren't we? And they were like,
yeah,
yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. No, you're right. Okay, it's gonna be Biden. And then I was like, you're gonna give me this black woman. I will lose my.
So you're gonna give me this
like,
right?
So I know he's not gonna trip out his mouth with some. Don't.
Everybody that I talk to when they want to say something like, but this is what, and did you know who she was? I was like, yeah, but you're gonna vote for her.
Yeah, I don't care.
Right? Because that's just it. I mean, we did this already.
Yeah.
We did this.
Yeah, you had your turn. You screwed it up.
Now you're gonna vote. Yeah. This is not a joke, right? So look at this. We're zombies. We're 2 seconds from zombies. 2 seconds. This is exactly a plot of a zombie film.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's too much. If we put this in a show, they would say it's too much.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
If we just did everything happening right now as a TV show, they'd go, come on, you got to take, you can't have all of it.
I mean, for real.
And look at us. We are 2 seconds off of a major civil war, race war in this country, being incited by the President of the United States.
For real.
You couldn't, if you tried to write that as a script, they literally would go, no.
Like, no.
No, that's just not plausible. The President of the United States wouldn't be openly asking for civil war.
Right.
No.
Right.
Be fomenting civil war in the United States. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like he's saying that Black Lives Matter. He's not even putting it in a way. He's saying this is a terrorist group. And you're like, so he could have kind of massaged it, whatever. No, he's saying that would not fly if we were trying to write that and spec and try and sell that. We would not be able to sell it because it would be too much, like you said.
Yeah. Well, people thought it was far-fetched on House of Cards, the move to have the president's wife move into the. They're like, oh, I was like, are you like? We're so. I would give anything for us to be stuck at that level of corruption.
Oh,
like that. Like it's just it's amazing to me that where we're at, and the fact is, I don't know how often racists need to get beat down, but we can do it again.
I know
if they just enjoy it this much. Because this is the thing. What I've seen is you have managed to radicalize white people. You have managed to get white suburban people out in the streets with their leaf blowers that they love. And out their moms standing in between the police and people. That's how badly you have messed up.
Right.
You've made a whole group of people who felt like they should stay out of it. Be like, whoa. So I don't even feel like we have to even show up day one as Black people to this race riot. We can come in as replacements on day 2 or 3. You know, or like fill in gaps, because I mean, they have taken a huge part of this, I think a large part of this country and made them go acknowledge something that you couldn't get people to acknowledge a year ago, white privilege.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Like a year ago, that discussion was a non-starter, and now people I think a lot of people are in a very different place. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to have gotten here another way, but that's, but that's.
I know. It's such a weird way to get here too, because when we started to see, when George Floyd, that was made public, and we see that, it's I can't breathe again, and we come out of that, it was just such a shock because we were all stuck on our phones and we were all stuck on our computers and stuff that everybody's just watching it. And it was such a movement of, okay, you saw this. I know you saw. Now what? Like, don't say you didn't see this time. Now what? And then I think that's when, Hughie and I decided to take on, not take on, but we started to jump on that and said, we have so many problems within this industry that need to be tackled too. It just it was too much. It was just too much.
We do it to ourselves too. Some of the fighting over scraps, the number of times that the people who have stood in our way have been other Black people, or they've allowed themselves to be utilized in that way. And it's like, I've looked at those Black people and been like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like, this should be, but this is Hollywood is going to continue to believe and push an agenda while acting like they're responding to the market. And it's a lie, because people will see other things. They will see other experiences. But this idea that, well, white America doesn't want to see this, or it's a Black show if you've got more than 2 Black characters, which means white people won't want to watch it, and then I'm watching everybody watch, all the, like Wakanda and it's like, and people, and I'm just like, you've been dictating an agenda, but trying to make people believe that you were responding to a need to a desire, and you weren't. No, I even think about like the diversity programs that a lot of the studios put up, which I have a whole thing about diversity programs, but at the end of it, you always, even if there's a lot of back and forth within people within the community, and it is a diverse community, at the end, it's 6 white dudes sitting in a line, giving up or down. It's not. It's like, why do we hit that spot and then up or down? It's not okay.
And if you are not playing to what their expectation is,
exactly.
Then it's insane. And that, for example, one of the examples Angela and I like to use is Cat Williams. Cat Williams was making $300 million a year,
working out every day. Every day.
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
He was pulling in Tyler Perry before.
That was the best.
He was making. In the 90s, he was making $100 million on the Chitlin circuit.
Right. And white people being like, "Have you this Tyler Perry is new?" And I'm like, "He ain't new.
No, he's not.
Everybody in my family got
a bootleg.
Of Tyler Perry. I'm telling you.
It's just like, no, he's new to you.
Right.
And then they get surprised when we know Bon Jovi. I'm like, we have access to the top 40. I don't know if y'all know this.
That's what they're coming down our throat.
Yeah, we know everything about this culture. This is just not information. You just don't know anything about else,
Exactly. And I always say this: I can white better than white people. Because
we both can. Very good.
In your culture.
Yeah.
Your culture is the culture. White people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And that when people are socialized in this country, we all know Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Right.
Can you tell me all the words to every Funkadelic song? I dare you.
How about what?
Yeah, I dare
no, there's
you.
a Funkadelic. That's a deep dive, I think. Like having to. They don't even,
No, not even close.
Not even close. Can you sing the words to Good Times? No, you cannot.
There's so many. One of my favorite things is I've wanted to do this show or maybe a documentary or I don't know what, a podcast, something that is unnecessary moments of racism in Hollywood. And it's in movies where there's like a moment that it's not forwarding. It has nothing to do with the plot. It's just an unnecessary bit of weird racism. And so it's like one of my favorite examples is from an old film. And is it An Affair to Remember? With there's a scene where, you know, she's a woman, they fall in love on the ship, she gets paralyzed, or she's in a wheelchair, whatever. And homegirl teaches music to kids, and she's teaching music, and what's his name? Is it Cary Grant? Is coming over to see her, and he doesn't know that she's in a wheelchair, and the kids are singing, and then all of a sudden, all the kids split apart, and the one little black girl and the one little black boy go down the middle, and then they start tap dancing. For no reason. The song isn't even like a tap dancing song. It's just like, you know, Frangela. And they're like, oh, like, what is this? Why is this here? Or like, I was just watching In Her Shoes, that movie with Toni Collette and Cameron Diaz and Shirley MacLaine. And there's a scene where this guy that she worked with, Toni Collette's character, is like, has always had this like crush on her or whatever, and they go out for a date and they go to a Knicks game and they're standing outside and she's just watching him as he talks to a group of black men who he clearly doesn't know, and she's looking at him like, and the thought bubble is, he's so cool, he even talks to black people, I love him. And I was like, what is this about? Like, I can have a conversation with black people about a game we're both watching, so I'm like the new JFK or whatever. Like, it's just like.
And here's the thing: that is the most that black people are utilized in that film.
Yeah, they call that representation.
Props. Yeah.
To forward and show something about white people. A friend of ours was watching a film earlier, and she was saying, a white friend of ours, and she was saying, she sent us a picture, and she was talking about these like light racial overtones in this film. And I was like, yeah, that the whole point of black people in a lot of films is to show the goodness of white people. It is not about black characters and black existence. It is about how white people can define themselves through my blackness.
Yep. And I think that's the whole concept too of the magical Negro. Like the white people are able to justify their actions. It's like this is the thumbs up from the whole black community, and that means that you're good. Like in this movie, here I am, and like, yeah, you're doing the best you can. Bye. Yeah. And then that's it. And then that means, okay, this is a good character. This must be the antagonist or the protagonist. Like this must be that protagonist that I was looking for. It's like, yeah, because I say you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it's not okay because we aren't even represented properly in that sense. Like we aren't even.
We're not full human beings.
Yeah.
And that is the problem with, I was saying this to Angela earlier today. Your circumstance of birth is so important because if you are not born of and to people who can teach you how to do simple things, how to eat properly, how to a simple, it doesn't have to be religious, a simple moral foundation of how to see the world, how to educate yourself, what the value of education or certain things, how to wash your fucking clothes.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to wash dishes. If you don't know, and then you become an adult and you don't know those things, you got to go out and figure out that number one, you need to know those things. And, you know, and so, I mean, so again, somebody who can write a full-fledged black person, and each one of them, you know, in every show, situation, circumstance is different.
Yeah, and flawed. Like this concept that we're not allowed to be flawed either. Right. Like, so it's, I remember we had one of our, you know, pilots, like there were some black people, executives who didn't like that that Francis's character, like, clearly didn't like her job. Yeah. They're like, well, we don't want to say that black people don't like their jobs. And I was like, okay, all I see in white TV shows is white people not liking their jobs, and nobody thinks that that's going to destroy the economy or destroy what people think of white people, and they'll never hire white people again. But a black person can't be in any way flawed, you know, or in any way complicated or nuanced, because that might represent us poorly. I'm like, can we just be people? Can we just be people? Can we have likes, dislikes, and fuck up and do things right, and, you know, all of that? And no. It's just really frustrating, and I feel like I think there's space for movies like The Help, but it would be nice if that wasn't the only movie and the biggest one and the only I don't have a problem with the movie existing and with people enjoying it. What I do have a problem with is that that's the only thing, and that we only get to see this one part of these people's lives, and not anything else. It's all a mystery.
Yeah. I think it's too, because we've been trained, even as people of color, to not be able to, they take it out of you when you're writing a person of color and you make them full. You're like, okay, this is the person. I'm writing them as a person first who has the experience of living in a body of color. Then it's like, wait a minute. Well, why? There always has to be a reason for us in a specific place outside of the fact that we just exist, that we just are. And
exactly.
Yeah.
It's always my our argument with Woody Allen. It's as if, how can you write shows, films in New York and never see brown people? I mean, New York, the most diverse city in the world.
Oh, and worse than that, you play jazz.
Yes.
How is that happening? And the thing is, one of my favorite movies is a Woody Allen movie, and I stopped watching his films some years ago, but the only black characters he's ever had in any of his movies are a maid, a prostitute, and the neighbor in the crappy neighborhood in England. Those are the only black people he's ever had as characters in any of his films. And it's just enough, and then, for me, the whole dating your stepdaughter thing.
Yes. Eating in a restaurant? I don't exist. No. I don't exist in the world.
Right. You think you have to make a place for me. Like, this is where a black woman would stay. This is what she would do in this scene. Instead of, she is a person who's fully a person inside, and she's someone who has an experience, and her experience is unique to her and how she was raised and where she was raised. Instead, it's like, we need this character and she needs to fit into this stereotype. And
because she functions for us.
Yes.
You function for them. You don't function for you.
And that this idea that being any part of our identity is something that we can neatly excise out of us. So it's like people saying, in fact, the diversity programs, when you said that, what turns up for me always is the WGA consists, they have these different diversity programs, sign up for this and we'll pick somebody to get to learn how to be a showrunner or to get to whatever. But they all require that you tell them what you are, but you can only choose one thing. So it'll be like, are you a woman? Are you a person of color? Are you in any way differently abled? Are you older, younger? Are you from another country? But you can't be all of those things. Are you gay?
You can't be a black lesbian who is differently able.
Yeah.
No,
that doesn't exist.
You have to pick one so they can put you in that category and decide if you can get. And I can't think of anything. You would never say to a white man, how about this? I want you to not think of yourself as a man.
Yeah.
Or I don't want you to think of yourself that. It's ridiculous, but somehow our personality, who we are, is something that can be just taken out of me. And how does it affect, when people say, how does it affect your view of things being a black woman? I'm like, I don't know how to answer that, because how does it affect your view of me that I'm a black woman and that you're not? It's everything about me. It's not some neat little package that I can take out when it's necessary. It's everything.
That is such a great point, because even in these investigations that are going on and things like that right now, one of the questions that is asked is, do you think that this person is racist?
Right.
And would they be racist to you if you weren't black? Or is it because do they just not like you, or is it because they're racist?
We have this
reality is I am who I am. I don't know how they would tell me or how they would treat me if I was not black, but I know everything about me is black, so I can't separate the two. The fact that I'm a black woman, I can't say, well, if I was a white man, they would throw down flowers for me? How am I?
I don't get it. What I really don't understand about that is, on number one, like, that's hard to conceive of in this country with 400 years of slavery and 100 plus years of legal segregation and everything.
Right.
Like, you think that that's a far-fetched one I'm making here? Like, maybe.
You never told me the N-word right there, but she's still like, I mean,
the idea that it can only be racist if the person intended it to be.
Yeah.
The concept that if they didn't say in their head, I don't like Angela because she's a black woman, if that didn't happen in their head, then what happened wasn't racist.
Right.
Like, that is the thing that I don't get. I'm like, if you're not actively wearing a Klan uniform, then anything you do might not be racist. Like, it's just crazy. But that's how they portray it. Because to me, it's like saying, look, when I robbed you, I didn't intend to shoot you, therefore I shouldn't get charged with that, because that wasn't my intention.
Wasn't my
intention?
Oh, that's good.
Like, it's just like, I'm like, their intention doesn't matter. And most of the time, people don't know why. Most of us don't know why we're doing what we're doing. We have a feeling. I remember when Trump, like the first season, I think, of The Apprentice, when you watched it maybe to see what it was, and like they had this at the end of it, it was like this white guy who had, I think he graduated from high school or he had a GED, something like that, and a black guy who had an MBA from Harvard. Like, it was like, and it was just, and Trump, I don't want to shock you, but he went with the white guy. And the reason he went with the white guy was, he said, there's just something about him. He's just got this certain something. I don't know. And I was like, yeah, it's you're looking at yourself. It's a very natural thing. I don't know if it's natural, like endemic to being a human being or not. But in this culture, what I know is that we tend to feel more comfortable around people that remind us of ourselves. And so it's not that people sit down and go, I don't want any black people on this set, although that does happen. But that they just feel better, more comfortable around a certain people. And if you're black, if you're white in this country, you can be successful and never have to deal with black people or brown people. If you're black or brown, that's not true.
It's never true.
You're going to have to deal with white people, which means you're going to have to negotiate figuring out how to do that, which means knowing Bon Jovi or whatever it is. like that is, we were talking today about how if you don't know Sweet Caroline, you can't get anywhere, with like a key to whiteness. Like, I'm like, you got to know that.
Yeah, you have to know that.
Don't let that song come on and you don't know to go, so good. Like,
you have to. Because people are like, what are you trying to say about this? What's wrong with you? What?
Because and I'm going to tell you something. I can tell you, I remember being 18 years old and my first experience at a piano bar in that way, and people looking at me like I was crazy because I didn't know that these are the things that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But being black, what it is, so there is that moment where you go, oh fuck, I gotta learn this. This is important. This is really deep. I don't know why I don't know this, but I don't know it, and I guess I gotta learn it.
Or like, it's always funny to me how
it doesn't happen for white culture. White culture doesn't sit there and go, oh my God, unless somebody is really down. They'll go, they'll go, oh, I like that. I want to know more about that. But there is never a pressure for white people to sit there and go, I need to know. My survival exists this.
In fact, it's treated like there's some sort of unique and beautiful unicorn like Ari Melber. Like, he's into rap. Give him a show. Like, he's into hip hop. Yes, give him a show.
I think he can rhyme. That means he can rap. That means he should have a show.
He's talking to rappers.
Lyrics.
Like, it's where it's annoying sometimes. It's a very serious topic, and he'll just say, "As Wyclef," and I'm like, "Just stop. This is serious. Like, what are you doing? We get it."
I mean, you can't be a black entertainer that doesn't know the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like, like I wasn't raised with the Beatles. I wasn't. I knew about the Beatles when I was a grown up because, like you said, I needed to know the Beatles.
You gotta be able to answer that
bird. The biggest debate at Second City constantly is Beatles or Stones. You know, and you better have an opinion, and you better know. There are these little social keys and there are cultural keys that if you don't have them, it's very hard to move forward and be successful. And that's just the way. And people don't even think of it that way. But that is exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are surprised, one of the things that cracks me up immensely is when people they decide because we're Black that we haven't had certain experiences or we don't know things, and it's hilarious because like Francis, I don't know what even happened with that Spike Lee show. Do you remember? Like Spike Lee was going to do a show about gangs or something. So Francis like sent in our headshots and her husband, who is a very he is not challenging in that area, but he's like a brother to me, and he looks like my brother in many ways. But like, I was like, Francis, we're not going to get on that show.
We're not the demographic that he was looking for and casting.
Like white people that were like thugs or whatever, but other Black people know better. They're gonna go, your buzzy butts. Look at you.
I don't know. Just the melanin absorption doesn't.
Afro Saxons over here.
Doesn't pass
down with. Yeah,
girl, a mess, Mirage, a mess.
Like there's so many times where people like it's just hysterical to me when somebody will say to me, try to explain something to me that I'm just like, you have no idea what my experience is. You know, I had this friend.
Sometimes I can, it's so funny. We did this show. We do a lot of commentary, but for years we did this show that got dubbed. It was a French show.
It's so weird. All across the show here. It was in
Europe, right? Like 10, 15 different languages. And we would talk about films. And one of the things is that they like to talk about films that were much older. But Angela and I, of course, knew all of those films because we have those reference, we've seen them all. I saw first run every film in the 70s because my parents were movie buffs.
They didn't understand the whole babysitter thing. Maybe you don't bring the 5-year-old to Carrie. Maybe.
Yeah, I saw Rosemary's Baby.
And I understand that.
Yes, I saw Blackula.
Right.
Yes, I saw Deer Hunter.
That's really not right.
I know. But my parents were those people.
Just watch it. Learn about life.
Oh my God. It's amazing. And then, what's his name from the Boondocks? Him, Aaron McGruder?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a jerk. We were auditioning for that show, and he came out of the room and said, "Hey, when it was in between the Matrix, one of the Matrix, was it the set between the first and the second one, maybe?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "When's the next Matrix coming out?" And Francis said when it was, and he was like, "How would you know?" And I was just like, "Do you think you're the only Black person who's into sci-fi?
I mean,
are you kidding me? How do we know? How do you know?"
What? Yeah, how do you know?
Like,
you can do it. How
but
dare he?
It's very, you know those Black people who like to be the only Black people in a situation.
Yes, I do. I know.
You know who I'm talking about, Mariah.
I know what you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about.
We all know. You know.
Oh, you the only special Black person up
the
here.
Only one.
Come on now.
So what is your what's your podcast? You have two, right? Both you're on two podcasts. I'm so excited to start listening.
The Final Word podcast is our weekly takedown of everything happening in politics.
Okay.
And our takes on that, and it is the news we feel you need to know, like the most important things, or things oftentimes things, issues or stories that aren't getting a lot of attention, don't get a lot of focus. We also have an aspect to our podcast that is a resistance wrap-up, things weekly, actionable things that you can be doing in your community that doesn't cost anything, that you can get you involved, that you can be a part of this resistance and a part and practice your civic duties. And then our second podcast is pure fun. It's called Idiot of the Week, where we take your favorite stupid water cooler stories and just have at it. Like the vicar who fell down, who was apparently putting hanging curtains at a window naked. Fell down.
Like you do.
This is his story. Fell down onto a potato.
What?
And it became live in his anus. And he had to have surgery
to get the potato out. But he said that the way the potato got there is that he slipped on a table. It was an accident, and he slipped and fell onto the potato. I don't know how you hang curtains, girl.
Yeah, what?
I think we did 15 minutes on that story. Like, because we were just like, seriously, you cannot.
Because it would have had to be a certain angle.
This is where I think this is the problem when you here's the thing, when you have to come up with a lie and you got too many things to balance, like why were you naked and how did the potato get lost? So you would have had to be above it, and how, like, that's why it's like hanging curtains.
Yes, right.
Okay.
That's when you just stop talking. You just plead the fifth.
You know what? I would just go, look, is it your job to know why it's there? No, your job is to remove it.
Just remove it. I can just tell you there's
Stay in your lane, doctor. Stay in your lane.
So we have the final word and Idiot of the Week. And what days is it? And where can
Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday the final word comes out, and then Thursday Idiot of the Week, and you can get them wherever you get your podcasts for free.
Okay, Thursday. So the final word on Wednesday and Idiot of the Week on Thursday. Okay, I think that Hughie, do you want to say anything at all? All three black women.
You know, it's been so great. So it's been so lovely for me, this whole experience. So thank you. I guess the only thing I would say is where can everybody find y'all too? We know on the podcast.
Yeah, you can follow us at Frangela Duo on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Go to frangela.com. And we're doing a virtual tour, the Sexy Liberal virtual tour with Stephanie Miller right now. So you can go to sexyliberal.com and see. It's a political sketch stand-up. It's been a lot of fun. Show. We've done 3 of them. The next one is, I think, what date is that? It's
September 26th.
The 26th, yeah.
September 26th. Oh, I'm going to post all of this. And every day, you don't even have any idea. I'm on the final word and Idiot of the Week. I'm about to binge. We're so glad.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's been so great.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so much for being a part of this and for sharing your views. I'm just like, they will have something to say, and you definitely do. So I hope to have you back soon, or just see you out there. And it
would be nice to socialize when we do that again.
I would love to see you
in person. Where it's not scary and deadly and stuff. That would be
amazing. Like go to one of those, I think they call them bars and restaurants.
Yeah, where those things, you can eat food at the same time as being in the same place. You don't have to wait for people to come have like 2 hours because you didn't get, and then you don't really get my drink right, and that's okay. So because I just tipped you $10. I tipped you $10.
Totally.
A lot of tip because it was just Starbucks. Okay, that's all I have to say. So I just thank you. You're so lovely. I just don't want this to end, but I know that Jessica is telling me to end because she's a good producer. Is there anything else that you'd like to say or anything like that? No?
Fuck Trump. That's it.
Yeah, fuck Trump. That's it, yeah.
That's my messaging. No.
No, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Hughie, and Isaac. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
And this is how we have a really weird way of ending it, but I think I'm going to play us out with our music, Hughie, this time. Yeah. Nice. Thank you. And have a great day. You too.
Slide with me. Catch a fire with me. I'm buying drinks. I'll have you sipping on account of feel it. Slide with me. Catch a fire with me. I'm buying drinks. I'll have you sipping on account of feel it. We know you never been body, yeah. Live with your finger pointed out, yeah. Can't always hide behind your power. We've established we're more powerful. Voices can be heard at the town hall. Silence is about to mean it's downfall. I'm just throwing parties to this third party HR. So slide with me, get your fire with me. I'm buying drinks so you can sip on this accountability. Slide with me, catch a fire with me. I'm buying drinks. I'll have you sipping on accountability.
Bye.